All right, we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to SBR. This is our inaugural college hangout for basketball, college basketball. We're tentatively calling it the Road to March Madness. Now, we got a bunch of guests here. First off, I'm looking on my screen here. We got Jeff Nadu, best big man on campus. How you doing, Jeff?
What's up, Matty? How you doing, pal?
Excellent, thank you. And next to him, we got Drew Martin, who is actually in our offices today in Costa Rica.
How you doing, Matty Ice? Thanks for having me, bud.
Excellent, thank you. And Ian Cameron, I don't know where you're coming from. Where are you coming to us from?
Canada.
Canada.
What a great time to be here, too.
All
Middle
right.
of December, freezing my ass off.
Freezing, sun shining.
Yeah, I got my shorts on. All right. And then obviously, you know who these two characters are at the end, the odds couple. How you doing, guys?
Yeah. Pretty good. We got five brains here together. If the five of us can't come up with one winner together, then it's not going to happen. We can do this, guys. Five brains.
Do this.
We can have one winner. Put our heads together. We can do it.
An extended version of Murderer's Row.
Yes. Five brains here. Five handicapping brains.
All right. Now, like I said, guys, this is like being a monthly thing for us, and we're going to try and keep a format. And first off, we're going to do a month in review. Now, obviously, this is our first month, but we still got a lot of games that have gone on in this past month. So I'm going to start with Jeff over there on my left. Give us your quick breakdown on what you really saw this past month and how it stands out to you in the betting.
I mean, I think one team that stands out to me is UCLA, what they've started to do so far. I mean, last year this team couldn't stop anyone defensively. They were kind of just a middle-tier Pac-12 team. But you look at what they've done so far. They go into Kentucky and get a huge win. No one can stop this team. I mean, offensively, they have just been totally unbelievable. 3-point percentage, field goal percentage. They have leaders, not only freshmen, but seniors as well. They're well coached. It's going to be a fun year in California and Los Angeles if you're a UCLA fan. So, yeah, I look at them and then Duke getting healthy. To me, they look like the team going forward that I'm really going to have my eye on. From a betting perspective, all sorts of stuff going on, and I'm sure we'll get into it.
All right, what do you guys think about that?
Well, and Brenner here, I like Jeff's breakdown on that because UCLA, Steve Alford is coaching his ass off, and obviously the quarterback of that offense is his son, Bryce Alford. But they showed me something this past weekend, and this is a team to be reckoned with. I think, again, as Jeff touched on, defensively, they've really, really stepped up their game, and moving forward as we get closer to the tournament, that means everything. If that team stays healthy, look out.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much. All right, let's go Ian real quick. Ian, tell me about some teams you've been cashing on so far college this season.
Well, when I look at some of these teams in the ACC, just in terms of the future, that conference looks like it's going to be an absolute beast with just how many good teams there seems to be in that ACC conference. I think one team that's going to be worth looking at moving forward here, the Tennessee Volunteers had a very, very tough early season schedule. Rick Barnes' team went out to Maui. They got tested by some pretty quality opponents and actually fared pretty well in that, and it seems to be doing them well. When you look at what they've done recently following that early trip to Maui, they beat the Georgia Tech convincingly at home. They really give North Carolina everything they can handle this past weekend. I see a buy sign on Tennessee after those early struggles. It's a very young team, but it looks like they're starting to mature, starting to grow up. The talent is there. The athleticism is there. There's more depth now with that team than they've had in the past. Tennessee, maybe a team to watch out for. And a team that I've got concerns with is the Washington Huskies. I think Lorenzo Romar finally is on some borrowed time here with this Huskies team. They have not stepped up in class very well, suffered a home loss against Nevada over the past weekend. I think finally the clock is ticking on Lorenzo Romar. He's never impressed me as a coach. He's been on the hot seat, it seems, for 3, 4, 5 years straight. I think Washington team, especially as Pac-12 season arrives, really going to struggle in the weeks to come.
Amen.
I can comment on Washington. Sorry, yeah. Did I just cut off at someone?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say amen. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. Washington has the profile of one of these teams that has a very, very high-profile young star who's obviously going to be a lottery pick, but maybe not a whole lot around him. So teams like that can be overvalued very, very easily. Even LSU was like that with Shaquille. You see it all the time when teams have, or LSU was like that with Ben Simmons, right? Yeah. And Washington looks like it has that profile here with that one great youngster, but then that leads them to be overvalued because they don't have what it takes around them to cover spreads reliably. Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Drew, you're suspiciously quiet over there. What you got for us?
Hey, I figure a lot of people on this call kind of wait for your time type deal. But maybe to piggyback off of what Big Man on Campus was saying. By the way, I know we're going against each other. Navy, Louisiana Tech. Maybe after this we need to get together and save on some vig.
I agree 100%. We should talk, Drew.
No, it'd be interesting. But yeah, what he was saying about UCLA, definitely a surprise. And going into or against the Kentucky game, coming out with a win was huge. And one thing that I've been on early is Kentucky from a totals perspective. I mean, running pace with all the talent they have on the offensive end, just hitting overs one after the other. They have since cooled off a bit, but I'm kind of looking to bet on them over going forward with just all the talent and the pace that they're running.
Excellent. And boys in the front, odds couple, what has stood out to you as the biggest surprises so far in the first month of the season?
I don't know. Let's see, surprises. I don't know. Maybe the struggles of Michigan State and Maryland. That's not necessarily a surprise. Michigan State has a young team. That's a team that we see this a lot with Michigan State, where they maybe they're like a little bit middling or a little bit less than elite in the beginning parts of the season, and then Tom Izzo just takes over, and then they start to become undervalued and have betting value. Towards the middle, towards the end of the season, and of course in the postseason. And I think that might be exactly what we're going to see from Michigan State this year. They've they've been kind of 50-50ish ATS, but they do have a lot of young players, and those guys will mature. Sort of the same thing with Maryland, right?
Sure.
Maryland Trimble, and then a whole lot of youth around them, right?
Yeah,
Brenner?
and they shined last night. Another thing with Michigan State, Tom Izzo, as the season progresses, he really defines that team, and then they start buying what he's selling. I think they're going to be something to look at as far as moving forward as well. What kind of stands out for me is defending champion Villanova. I think they might be just a little overvalued. Sure. I think the lines are a little bit too high, and I think fading them on large lines against smaller schools might be a good angle until those lines do adjust, if they do. But again, taking nothing away from that team, they just keep winning straight up. But ATS, I'm kind of on a hold pattern right now.
And I think Temple gives them the game tonight. I really do.
Agreed.
Yeah, that'd be a good game.
Yep.
All right, guys.
That's a bigger rivalry than people may think. That's a huge in Philadelphia. That's huge. So that's a bigger rivalry than people might think. And Temple's really kept it close this year against. They beat West Virginia, beat Florida State, huge wins there. So yeah, they're going to get up for that game. Dunphy will have them prepared for sure.
No doubt.
He's done a great job again, Dunphy. What else is new? So many graduate transfer losses, departures from last year's team, and Temple's just hung in there, been gritty, been tough, played defense, same old Temple so far. Very impressive.
All right, guys. Anything else anybody want to add about what we've already seen so far? Any trends you guys applied to things that really worked out for your teams you've rode that hit big?
For me, I continue to ride Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, IPFW. They were a money catcher last year all year. They just continue to cover numbers. I think one team to look kind of into a little bit further, Indiana State, the Sycamores out of the Missouri Valley, already covered against Iowa State, beat Butler outright. This is a team going forward this week to get Valparaiso, kind of like that typical Indiana type of team, but they're going to cover numbers 7-2 so far this year against the spread. Two fade teams, Oregon State, they have looked pathetic. Lose to Savannah State the other night, lose to Lamar as well. And then Cal has a lot of injuries right now. I think going into the slate, into the Pac-12 tournament or into the Pac-12 season, they have not been covering either. They might be a team to fade. So them and Oregon State for me. Oregon State looks lost right now.
One team that I'm kind of high on a little bit, although we'll see if the market adjusts, is St. Mary's, right? St. Mary's is always, they're often a team that is a little bit under the radar, and this year they're looking like one of the better versions of St. Mary's that we've seen in a while. They've definitely been profitable ATS so far, and that may continue, and it may not. We'll see.
Yeah, good point.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, let's move on to what's coming up down the pipeline. So we're going to take a look at this next month. Since this is a monthly show, we do have to cover a lot. Obviously, we're not going to talk about every game. But first off, I want to talk about something that me and Drew were talking about. We're moving into conference play pretty soon. How is that affecting the way you guys are making your plays?
Well, Matty Ice, one thing I look at going into conference play, but just in college basketball in general, is looking for change, whether that be pace, the coach looking to slow it down, speed it up, get back on defense, and also injuries. And one that I found going forward, a team to bet on, is Colorado State. The Rams, their best player, Gian Clavel, he's a senior. He actually got a red shirt. and actually hasn't played in a game until this past Saturday. They covered as minus 13-point chalk against Northern Colorado. So he sat out the whole season. They're 8-2, kind of running under the radar. He had a kind of off the court situation where he got arrested, and it kind of came out that it wasn't really as bad. So now he's already played one game. And going forward, he averages over 10 points a game and 10 rebounds a game. He's a 6'4" senior guard. He'll now be playing for the foreseeable future. So the Colorado State Rams are a team I'm going to be looking to bet on. And coming up this Saturday, December 17th against Kansas State, Ken Palm has them right now about 5-point dogs in a neutral site game. So that's a game I would give the listeners, the watchers here coming up on Saturday, bet on the Colorado State Rams.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll chime in. There's one thing that I've kind of got my eye out for, and that's Houston. One thing I like to look at in college basketball is I like to look at like the mid-range teams that are on a high year or a dominant year. A lot of times in the past that's been like Wichita State. Teams like that tend to be a big favorite, but tend to cover week in and week out as a big favorite in conference play. And that might be Houston might be a good candidate for that this year. They've been a double-digit favorite 3 times, covered all 3 of those. So when conference play starts getting underway in the AAC, when they're like a big favorite against the mid-range teams in the AAC, they might continue to be a good bet as even as a pretty big favorite. That's kind of something I look for.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about North Carolina moving forward? I mean, here's another team I think is a little bit overvalued, underachieving. And I think just the name itself and because of the coach, I think they get a little more respect than I think they deserve. I just wanted to know the panel's thoughts on UNC moving forward. And does Roy Williams have what it takes to lasso this team and get them fired up?
In conference play.
I mean, it's a tough conference to do it in. I mean, like Ian said earlier, Florida State, Duke, Miami's a pretty good team. I'm not a Roy Williams fan at all. I think he's a good recruiter. As far as an X and O coach, I don't know that he's as good as people might think. Look, they lost Marcus Page last year. They still have a good, as far as bigs, Kennedy Meeks, those guys, look, they're a good rebounding team, like to push the pace, but do they have a guy that can take the ball at the end of the game like a Marcus Page and win a game? I'm not sure they can. And with Duke getting healthy, with Florida State emerging, I don't know. It really depends game to game. But
I would say 50-50 at best in conference play for a UNC. There's maybe more likely 40% or so, because there's some ominous signs. You know what I mean? They had big favorites. They were big favorite twice their last 2 games, and they lost ATS. And
they dearly miss Joel Berry too. There's no question about that. There's no doubt that has been an impact on this team. I think they're going to be fine in terms of being a national championship contender, NCAA tournament being a force, but from a point spread perspective, I just don't think you're going to find that value with the Tar Heels in the ACC play.
They're a lot like the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA. The Cavs don't care a lot about the season. They just look to get to the playoffs. And, look, North Carolina's going to make the tournament. That's where they strive. And that's one thing to go off of what Drew said, where in certain spots, you got to look at motivation. A lot of these teams, do the conference tournaments really mean a whole lot to these teams? Honestly, that's kind of one thing I look at. As far as, again, they want to win, but do they have much incentive like they would with a middle major, like Peter said? So,
yeah,
good point. Really good point.
And in fact, many of the coaches are on the record saying they hate, in the major conferences, saying they hate the conference tournaments.
It's a waste of time, really. It means absolutely nothing.
ACC is going to be fun, gentlemen, because these teams there's a lot of good teams, a lot of teams that can make it to an NCAA tournament. They're going to pound the shit out of each other within this conference. It's going to be a fun January and February of ACC basketball.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I like that fire, man. What else you guys got for me coming up? Who's excited about what? I want to hear some games you can't wait.
Yeah.
As far as games, weather. At least
that's that cold weather in Canada.
He's fired up.
Could be better.
Guys, Indiana, they got a big basketball day Saturday. Purdue, Notre Dame, Butler, Indiana. The whole state of Indiana is going to be ready to go this weekend. Some good games, too. Butler, I think a team. But as far as conferences, the Big East, a good conference. Creighton, Butler, Villanova, a lot of good teams in that conference. But, couple good ones in the state of Indiana this week. A good state if you like basketball. So those are a couple ones I'm looking forward to on Saturday.
All right.
Okay.
Yankee.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
I think that the big guys also,
Tell me,
by the
tell
way,
me.
pound the shit out of each other during
Yeah, the
conference
big
play.
guy,
Yeah.
they usually do.
And Seton Hall, sleeper in that conference. They were good to me last year. I made some money with the Pirates. Don't
Yeah,
forget
nice.
about them. That's a capable team too.
Nice cover last night if you had Seton Hall. They cover
Yes.
with, what, a second left? They didn't cover the whole game until
Yeah, I know.
last
It
second.
screwed me, but I got it on the first half, though. I did take Frank Martin, South Carolina team on that first half.
There you go.
All right. Now, have you seen any trends emerging recently that you guys are looking at to continue this upcoming month?
Maybe.
I'm going to give you a team to watch this upcoming
yes,
month
that's
from
good.
a
Here we go.
positive
Exactly.
bet on standpoint.
Let's
It's a
see.
team that took some lumps, got their ass handed to them a couple of times, but I think when conference play starts, they'll be under the radar, undervalued. That's the Arizona State Sun Devils. Bobby Hurley's a good coach. Did a
Wow.
great job with the Buffalo Bulls, getting them to the NCAA tournament, a pro basketball program that had struggled before he got there. It's in Arizona State now. They took some lumps, got pounded by Kentucky, got pounded by Purdue. But I'm starting to see some signs of life from them. A nice win on the road against San Diego State, albeit the Aztecs struggling this year. But Arizona State's going to be toughened up. They've had some tough competition. They've been traveling a lot early in the season. They are going to be facing, a Pac-12 conference. It's going to be difficult when you look at UCLA, Colorado, and all of these teams, basically. But it's one of those situations where I think they're going to be toughened up, ready for the challenge of some of these really good Pac-12 teams, Colorado, Oregon, UCLA, Cal, go on down the list. Arizona State could be undervalued ATS-wise come conference season.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah, the Pac-12, in my mind, is probably, if I had to name one, the most unpredictable conference in both football and basketball would be the Pac-12. And I find that a lot of times there is usually one team in college basketball that is bad ATS in the pre-conference schedule, and then during conference play starts to cover game in and game out. I'm always vaguely looking for that team like the Arizona State. I like your nice analysis, Ian Cameron.
Yeah, I like that as well. Bobby Hurley is a very good coach, and what he did at Buffalo was, nothing short of amazing. So I think he brings that on. His players buy what he's selling. He is such a player's coach. That goes a long way. And I think next year, the years following, you're going to see this kid really build a strong program there.
Would you guys agree, though, that against the better Pac-12 teams, they might struggle? I mean, you look at what they did in their Kentucky and Purdue; they were absolutely pasted in both those games. They don't play a lot of.
Yeah, it's all according to the line.
Yeah,
It's my belief they're going to play better defense, and playing the tough teams they've had to play so far is going to make them, I think, a better defensive team in the long run. It hasn't shown up yet, but I'm starting to see signs of it. The San Diego State game was a better improvement. Obviously, they're going to have to play good defense with the way some of these Pac-12 teams can absolutely fire it up offensively in terms of scoring the basketball. But I have faith in them to get this team ready for Pac-12 conference season after this really amazingly tough schedule they've had. The tough opponents, all the travel. They were, in Bahamas playing Kentucky. I mean, they've just been everywhere, it seems, this team. They've been everywhere. Well, hopefully it toughens them up for Pac-12 time.
All right. I have a very, very special question from our director of marketing, Zach. Just wanted me to ask you guys. Is it true that Roy Williams wears lingerie?
I don't know. I think him and Mike.
I don't know, nor do I want to.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
I
an
wouldn't
answer.
know either.
Honest
Now, what
answer to
about
an honest
Coach-
question.
What about Coach K from Duke? I heard that about him.
All right, now here's something me and Drew were talking about a bit earlier, and I wanted to touch on it a little bit. I'll let you roll with it, Drew. But the big market teams, for people coming into the betting and for new people, I suspect, obviously that's the kind of people or the teams they're going to focus on originally because that's who they know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, it brings more eyeballs to talk about the bigger teams. I guess just looking at the opening lines for tomorrow, I'm glancing at it, and we were touching on them earlier, the UCLA Bruins. Laying a big number, it looks like 27.5 to UC Santa Barbara, the Gauchos. It's an interesting game. UCLA, I actually don't mind laying a bigger number with UCLA. I try to always stay away from favorites, but the pace that they're running, the offense, the efficiency they have, I think that they can cover this big number. You agree, big man?
I agree. Santa Barbara stinks. I mean, and look, UCLA, Santa Barbara is a team. I mean, UCLA, they're going to hit 100. I mean, that's their thing nowadays. So, do I think Santa Barbara could score 70 points? No, I don't. UCLA's covered these big numbers pretty much all year. So
yeah, not for nothing. UCLA has covered 7 in a row.
Wow.
And the last 2 were by margins. So, actually the last 3 were by margins. So
they're picking up steam. They stay healthy. Look out.
Yeah. UC Riverside by 42 as just a 25-point favorite. So those are the kinds of games I think,
Yeah, that conference, that Big West conference is awful. I mean, there's really – I mean, Long Beach State, I mean, you look at that team. They were supposed to be one of the better teams in that conference. Not albeit they played a lot of big-timers, but what was your excuse to lose to Binghamton, for God's sakes? I mean, I'm not high on that conference. UCLA should smash them.
Yeah, that's surprising, too, because Long Beach State, they were pretty good last year, especially towards the end of the year.
Yeah, they had I don't know what their coach was thinking. I get a tough out-of-conference schedule, but you do 7, 8 of those. I mean, you were getting crushed in all of them. I didn't really understand that from a coaching perspective, why you would do that to your team. But
And you know what, guys? Santa Barbara 1-6 straight up, 0-5 against the spread in line games this year. You don't try to step in front of a falling knife, okay? This team hasn't covered a point spread yet. You basically stay out of it. Until they show signs they can cover a number, you don't bet on Santa Barbara. They've not given you any reason to do so yet. Let the betting markets tell you when they've caught up to how bad they've been.
Their only win this year was against Sonoma State. So, I mean,
powerhouse.
Yeah, that is a powerhouse.
And they lost San Francisco at home as a favorite by 12. What the fuck is wrong with this team?
God, the 49ers.
Jesus Christ.
I'm betting UCLA right now.
I know, we're talking ourselves into just unloading there. Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
bet it early.
I don't think Alfred's going to pull the pedal off that metal. I think he's on a mission this year, and he wants to keep getting as many of them 100-point games as he can. He's going to show, that this team needs to be recognized.
I'd be interested to hear people's opinion, all your opinion on. There's only about 2 conference and out-of-conference games left. What's everyone's opinion on kind of maybe resting a little bit, getting ready for conference play? UCLA, they have Santa Barbara, Ohio State, and Western Michigan. I mean, if you're up by 30, is there really a reason to keep the starters in for the last 3 minutes of the game?
That's a good point.
Probably
That's
not.
always going to be a concern with a big favorite. Always, it's just do they keep pushing when they're up by 20 with 2 minutes to go? You got a bunch of walk-ons coming on that can't shoot straight in the last couple of minutes, and it costs you a cover. It's always your biggest concern.
Let's hope they're up 40, so it doesn't matter.
All right, guys, we're going to start wrapping it up a little bit here. But do you guys have any closing things you want to say? Anybody? Important. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing just for me, I mean, Duke, obviously, we've seen what they've done. They also get Harry Giles back from injury. I think going forward, they have to be the favorite as far as, long term. I mean, they're going to cover a lot of numbers, too. One other thing, guys, someone mentioned the AAC. I think it was Peter. He mentioned Houston. Yeah. Look out for Central Florida. They get their leading scorer, A.J. Taylor, back. This team is downright stingy on the defensive end, only behind Virginia in points per game given up. There's no real clear-cut favorite in that conference. A lot of just really good teams. Look out for Central Florida. They're doing a lot of this without their best player and point guard.
Actually, in the first odds couple show that that Mike Brenner and I did this year, I gave us Central Florida over Mississippi State. They were an underdog there. They got a guy named Taco Fall who's 7'6". That's massive.
81% from the from 2-point field. He doesn't miss.
I mean, Taco Fall, when we get into conference play, and these guys, they're not going to out-rebound some 7'6" guys. I agree with you. Central Florida, and actually they've, they lost outright to Penn, so they've had some mediocre results recently, which might actually just serve to keep their spreads a little bit lower.
The game last night against Penn, I was actually on Central Florida. They just couldn't shoot straight. 49.
Right.
What is that?
No, but so I agree with you. And if you're looking for in-conference play, their mediocre results recently might actually be a good thing. Keep their lines a little bit lower than they would be if they were blowing people out.
Sure, turn around for a second.
What is that?
What happened?
Is that an Ewok? Is that an Ewok? I think
that's a Chewbacca backpack from. We like to have fun here.
That's all right. Gotta have fun. That's work.
We got a question in the chat. When is Big Man coming down to visit Costa Rica?
Pretty soon, I would hope, Mike Brenner.
Don't bring the girlfriend.
No, I'm not. And Mike, I told you, I keep a stable of women, not just.
I know you do.
If you can believe that, I keep a stable of women, so I'll come down with no woman.
But Mike, be careful there, big man. I mean, you can't be saying that live TV.
I need the girl from Nitro Garage, Mike. What's up, Mike?
Yeah,
he asks every day on the Periscope about them.
I need that girl from Nitro Garage.
Well, she probably needs you too.
I'll bring her back to America.
All right, bud.
All right. So as we're closing up, I want each one of you guys one by one. I want to tell where they can find you, social media, anything like that. So start off, big man, for me.
You can find me at bmocwins.com. You can also find me at another website I just joined, c2csportsroom.com. Guys, come over and take a look at what I'm doing. I have a daily podcast every day. We go over the day's card as far as college basketball. Ian Cameron has been a regular guest on my show for a number of years. Drew Martin, Mike, Peter, love to have you guys as well. Come on over and take a look. I love the podcast stuff, and I enjoy SBR. So just come and take a look at what I'm doing. I love all you guys. You guys are doing a great job, and always good to share the airways with you.
Thank you, big man.
Thanks, man.
Great job.
What you got
Well
for
said,
us?
Jeff. Class act.
All right, Ian, where can we find you? What you got coming down the pipeline with us?
Find me along with my good buddy Drew Martin at sportsmemo.com. Fantastic website, great handicappers there, daily podcast, blog, forum posts where you can post your picks. We post news articles, injury stuff. Great handicappers who are all getting ready for bowl season. It's a tremendous website. Daily recap, so you know everybody's plays every single day. We don't hide anything. Sportsmemo.com is where you can find me.
All right, Drew, let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm at sportsmemo.com. You can find me Twitter at Drew Martin. That's DREW Martin Betts at the end of my name. Yeah, I'm at sportsmemo.com. Transparent website, forum, daily podcast, everything Ian Cameron just touched on. And it was a pleasure to be on with you guys.
All right, and boys in the back, what about you? Let them know, just in case we got some strangers watching us today.
What's up with the Twitter, Pete?
Oh, yeah, add Pete Loshak. You can also find me making unhinged political posts at 4chan. No, that's a joke.
I'd like to read that.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
I'd love to read that.
Yeah, my Twitter is P Loshak, but it's better just to tweet Mike Brenner because I'm so I don't know how the hell you guys have a life because I have no girlfriend, no wife, no family, no kids, no nothing, and I can barely keep up. But you guys obviously find time to do your research. But
got it all.
I don't have time to tweet at all. But I try once in a while, and at P Loshak at Twitter.
I do get questions often about where the second half, those tweets came from, where they gone. But we'll get you back.
The second half tweets. Pete's tweets. We're putting you on
Yeah,
blast.
all right. I'll tweet second halves tonight.
Hey,
Mike, SBR, Mike B.
Yeah, just beware, though. Political rants don't end well usually. Someone gets pissed off and threatens to kill you, and then it just.
Hey,
We're gonna
Drew.
be happy with people. Yeah, what's up, man?
Drew, anytime you want to do a side bet on La Tech Navy, hit me up, man.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
You know, I like
let's do it right now.
Here we go.
We'll have to
guys.
hit that up next week, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, I want to thank you for watching. Like I said, we're going to be doing this every single month going forward. We'll definitely let you know ahead of time. And again, thanks for watching. And guys, thanks for coming on.
All right,
Sounds
guys.
good. Enjoy the
And
games
Mike,
and good luck.
you just got to click the end button over there.
I got you, buddy.